Hi guys, this is Ma from NOS Couture, and today we'll be making this beautiful dress. It has a Peter Pan collar and a flare on the lower parts with a balloon sleeve. So if this is what you like to watch, we are going to be making. We had to pick a little bits and pieces from from different styles, but we know that for all the styles there will be flare added to it. That's the half circle flare, not the full circle, because she's a Muslim, so she wants it to flow all the way down. Okay, so for this style we're going to make it will have a Peter Pan collar, the collar that goes from the midpoint of the neck all to the back. The bodice will be fitted, that's from the shoulder to the half length. The lower part will be a flare. The sleeve will be a balloon sleeve, not too balloon, just the size of how to fold and get your half circle. For her waist is 40 and the length of her dress is 58. Her waist is 40 and the length of her dress is 58. Her half length is 16. So what we'll do in this case is minus her half length from the full length of her dress. The full length of her dress is 58. 58 minus 16, which is 42. Okay, so jot that 42 down. Then we have her waist to be 40. So you divide the waist 40 by 3.14. That is the formula for half circle. 40 divided by 3.14, and we got 12 to be the radius. 12 to be the radius. So we'll add the figure we got from subtracting the full length of the dress and the half length, which is 42 plus 12. That will give us 54. So we'll have to put 54 on fold now. 54 on fold. So watch me as I fold. Okay, thanks guys. Stay glued to this channel. Please like, share and subscribe as we go deep into this tutorial for today. Okay, so this is how we're going to fold the flare. Remember, we got 54. Okay, so we got the length, the full length of everything to be 54. Remember, after we divided and added, so we have 54. So what we just measure now, we measure out maybe 54 and a half or 55, just to be more than what you measured. Okay, just to be more than what you measured. Let's do 55. At that 55, I'll fold the 55 into 2.
So right off the bat, most people that do things with levity really are. I'm so sorry, but people please forgive me if I offend you.
Okay, so I folded the 55 into 2. This is what you're seeing here, because I'm going to fold it again into a triangular form. So I'll just where the 55 is, I will just cut it out, so it can be okay for me to. It can be easy for me to cut on. Okay. Follow the thing. Okay, guys. So this is the fabric. The 55 folded. This is the 54. So I want to fold it into a triangle now. So this is what I will do, like this, and go this way. So we've succeeded in folding into 4, but in a triangular form. Okay guys, so now we want to impute in the measurements. So what do we do first? We go ahead to impute our radius, which is what we divided from the waist. The waist is 40 divided by 3.14, which is the formula for pi. So we got 12. So from the tip of the fabric, we'll get 12.
So I think that we call ourselves a secular.
So we take that 12 round.
To reach back into history and look at things culture, think of law.
From the 12 came from your waist is 40. 40 divided by 3.14, which is the method for PAL. If you did PAL in secondary school, you will know this method.
This one goes, true grace transforms the heart and enables obedience.
Okay, so
rather than
I'm taking the 12 round.
Take a moment to think about it because
I'm taking the 12 round. This will be the measurement of the waist when you're done. From the round waist, from the back to the front, including your zip allowance. So there's no need of adding your zip allowance. Because it's fair. At the end of the day, it will all come in to your zip allowance. So what do we do next now? We take the length of the remaining bodies, that's from the lower part, from the waist part to the lower part, which is 24. I hope you remember how we got that measurement as well. We got the measurements by the figure we got from the waist divided by 4, which is the waist divided by 3.14, which is 12. 12 plus the remaining length of your half length. The full length of the dress is 58. 58 minus 16, which is the half length. So that's how we got the remaining length of this. So in total is 54. So I will rotate that 54. If you really want to be sure you got the full length of your dress, the remaining half length of your dress, take it from there and see, which is 42 and a half. So is that correct? So I'll take that 54 round. So I'll take my 54 round. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. So I'm cutting the lower part of my flare. I'll cut this out. I'll use this in cutting all patterns, all 2 patterns left, because she brought 3 pieces. So I'll use this in cutting all 2 patterns left. And I will go over to the upper part. So this is it, guys. This is the upper radius, which I talked about. And this is the lower part. All the spaces you find the chalk is the hemline. Is the length of our lower part. So I'll go ahead and cut. So there's a trick around this radius. If you want to have a bit of excess here, you want to have a bit of excess, you cut directly on that chalk I just measured. But if you don't want to have a bit of excess, just cut above it. Cut above this line and you will be fine. So I'll go ahead and cut. So I'm about to cut the upper bodies for the flare. So remember, like I always say, there's a bust in front and there's no bust at the back. So our front half length is 18. I'll be needing half an inch to join the shoulder and half an inch to join the flare to the half length, so which is 19, which is 1 inch, so altogether would be 19. So from this point where I ruled out, I've gotten my 19. Okay, I'll make a line at that 19. So I'll impute my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 18, which is 9. So I'll divide the 18 into 2, so which is 9.5. So I'll form a square at this 9.5. I'll form a square at this 9.5, and then on this lower part, I'll just make the armhole. But let's still leave it at 9.5. Sorry. Then when I'm done sewing, I can still trim off later. Okay, so she said for this, she needs a Peter Pan collar. The upper bodies will be fitted, which is what we're doing now. Flare on the lower part, then a balloon sleeve. So that's basically it for this one. So let's get to continue cutting now. So this square I made right here is the square theory for the armhole. shoulder divided by 2, so I formed it into a square. I'll go back to my top line and measure her bust point. Her bust point is at 13.5. She's quite busty. I'll use 14 plus my sewing allowance, which is 14 inches. I'll get my under bust also. Her under bust is 16 and a half plus my sewing allowance, which is 16 and a half. Okay, so for this class, for this style, I'll be using my waist darts and my bust darts to create more fitting for her. Waist darts and bust darts. So this is my shoulder line, my bust point, my under bust, my waistline. I'll go ahead and impute my P to P, which is her bust span. Her bust span is 9, which is at 4.5. Okay, from the midpoint of my fabric, I'll take the 4.5 upwards to my bust point. That is where my darts will be, my waist darts. Make a rule at that line. Okay, I will impute my dart intake. For her, she's a big size. I will do it at 0.75, which is at 1.5 together. 0.75 on each side. Then I'll come down from the bust point at 1 inch. You can do 1.5 for a big size. And I'll match the 0.75. I'll match this 0.75 to the tip of my bust point. So I'll go ahead and impute my circumference measurement now. Her bust is 44.5, which is 11.1. Okay, 11.1 plus my sewing allowance, which is at 1.5. Her waist, I'll go down to my waist. Her waist is 40, which is 10 divided by 4, 10. My darts I took out, which is 1.5, plus my sewing allowance, which is 1.5 also. Okay, so that's it. So whatever I have on my bust point, I'll bring it to my chest line as well. 11.1 plus my sewing allowance, 1.5. So I'll match all lines together. From my bust point to my chest line to my waistline. Okay. So I've gotten almost done with my front bodice. So I want to impute my side darts now, so that this side can augment with the side back as well. So I want to use my bust darts, my waist, my under bust darts for this class. I don't want to use my bust darts. So I'll find the difference between my bust and my under bust. My bust and my under bust. So this is my difference. Okay? So this is my first darts point, okay? Which is the difference between my under bust and my bust point. I'll move ahead to finding the difference between my back half length and my front half length. The difference I have, my front half length is 18, my back half length is 16, so which is 2 inches. So I will share that 2 inches on both sides of this dart placement, okay, which is 1 inch on both sides, 1 inch on both sides. Please, if you don't understand, kindly send a message in the comment section. I will do well to answer us, please. So the same way I came down from the bust point, I'm going to come down from the bust point on the bust dart side. So basically I have gotten my bust dart, so I'll just go out a bit here and match this to this point. Okay, so now let's go to my neckline. Let's move over to my bust line now. She says she wants a Peter Pan collar for this piece, and she says she doesn't want the neck to be choking. So what do? I'll leave the neck width to be at 3.5, and I'll use the neck depth to be at 4.5. Let's leave it at 4. Let's leave it at 4. Okay. Let's leave it at 4. Sorry, it should be too choky on her. So, with the help of my French curl, I'll make a call. So I'm just reading through what she said she wants to get the shoulder slope, because we all know that our shoulder is not straight. So for her, I will use 1.2, between 1.2 and 1.5 for a large size. You're good to go. Okay, so I'll merge this to the tip of my neckline. To the tip of my neckline. Then for the armhole curve, from the tip of the shoulder slope to the tip of my chest line, I would make a line there and get the midpoint, which I've gotten. For she is a big size, I will come in 0.75 for her, then connect and get the armhole curve for this customer. Okay, so I'll place my French curve on the tip of my chest line, making sure all points meet from this end to the 0.75 to tip of my shoulder. Okay, so we're good to go now. Okay, so this is basically it for our front piece. This is basically it for our front piece. Okay, let's I'll go ahead and cut down. I'll cut this piece out first. I like to leave my fabric. I don't like to, have shredded pieces all around. You can also follow this, or if you really don't want to go through this process, you can just quickly fold. You can just quickly fold. You can see it's almost the same with what I did here. So you can just quickly fold. You can see it's almost the same thing. Like it's likely the same thing with what I did. Okay, so I cut out my neckline. I cut out my shoulder. My shoulder, my armhole curve, sorry, not my shoulder. Okay, now I'll cut my shoulder slope. So I will notch all my important points now. Which, okay, sorry, I'm yet to cut this out. So I'm going to notch out all my dad's legs now. And I'll notch my underbust that as well. So when I want to sew now, for this chalk to appear on this other side, I'll just place my pin in here, and also place this in here. I know this is where the dart stops, because all notches are already there. And I'll make a sign here and re-chalk the piece again. So this is basically it for the front for this. Okay, so let's get to the back piece now. Alright guys, welcome back. So this is the back view. I have got my half length for her is 16 plus my sewing allowance 17 inches. So I'm going to take out this self edge, this factory edge. Please guys, whenever you're cutting, don't leave this. It is not professional at all. So I'm going to ignore it while I take my measurements, because I'm going to cut it out. So what I will do next is impute my zip allowance from the factory edge. I'm not making use of it. My zip allowance is at 1 inch. Please, not on your factory edge whenever you're sewing. Always cut it out. It's very necessary to cut it out. Okay? So I'll make a rule at the 1 inch. Remember we said the back half length is different from the front half length because there's a bust in front. So there's no bust at the back, so we just have our half length to be from the top of our shoulder to the waistline. So there's no bust there. So I'll go ahead and impute the same shoulder measurements which I had before. which was 9.5 after my zipper allowance. 9.5. Okay. I would make a square with my 9.5.
Well done. You've landed and landed well.
Okay, just making sure my 9.5 is accurate into a square. So if you're still not subscribed to my channel, you that is watching me now, if you've still not subscribed to this channel, God is watching you. God is watching you. I wonder how we will grow. I wonder how we will grow in this content creation journey. If you've not subscribed to my channel, head job, I beg. Okay, thank you, please. Thanks for helping us. So I'll get my boss point, which is the next thing to do. 13.5, which is 14 for her. Yes, 13.5. Yes. Okay. I'll make a rule there. So I will impute my DAT after my zipper allowance, which is at 4.5. Remember, which is 9 divided by 2 at 4.5. Okay. I'll take it up to the chest line. Up to my chest line. So I'll impute my DAT intake like I did for the front, which is at 0.75. That's 1.5 all together. Okay, so it's going to end at my chest line. So I'm marking the DAT leg. It's going to end at my chest line. So I'll go ahead and impute my neck measurements like I did for the front. But for this, I'll still use the same 3.5 width. Okay? But for the depth, I'll use 1.5. Like I said, she's a Muslim, she doesn't want to expose much. Okay, so I'll make my neck whole. Okay, the same shoulder slope I use for the front, I'll use for the back as well. I'll merge.
These two students are both made their school really
okay,
proud.
so
Thank you to their teachers, their parents.
let's impute the bust measurement. My bust is 11.1. 11.1 plus my sewing allowance, which is 1.5 inch, and her waist is 40 plus my sewing allowance 1.5 plus my DAT intake 1.5 altogether, which is 3 inches. Okay, so whatever it is I have on the bust, I'll bring to the chest line as well. Plus my sewing allowance. Okay, so you merge all lines.
Hollywood College. The potentials are unlocked and given premium value. For inquiries, kindly contact us at the email address info@hollywoodcollege.com or go to the website at www.hollywoodcollege.com.
I'll do the same like I did for the front. From the tip of my shoulder slope to the tip of my chest line, I'll get the division of width. Now, for the front armhole, remember we came in 0.75. For this, you're not coming in. This is the point that would help you intersect just the armhole for the back. You don't need to come in because there's no bust in front and you're not trying to take in any excess in front. So I'll get my armhole core is on the tip of that point, which I made. Okay, so I'll move over to the zip allowance, which is at 1 inch. This is my 1 inch for my zip allowance. Okay, from here to here, from here to the edge, the tip of my factory edge, not the end. Remember, I took my 1 inch from here. So I'm going to come in at 0.75. Number one, because she's on the big side. Number two, this fabric is stretchy. If it were not to be stretchy, I would have come in by 0.5. I want this to be very, very firm on her waistline by the time I'm done sewing. So I'll come in by 0.75. Okay? 0.75. And match that 0.75 to the chest line upwards, to the shoulder line upwards. Okay? Okay. So this is basically it. So remember my zip allowance is 1 inch. So I'll start saying 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Then it goes automatically with this new curve I've made. 1 inch. That 1 inch has taken the excesses on the waistline and the back line. So I'll go ahead and cut. Let me move the camera closer so that we can see clearly what I did. So this is the excess I took in from the waistline. This is my dark leg. And this is my sewing allowance and all. This is my shoulder slope and the neckline. So I can go ahead and cut right away while we move over to the next part of this video. I'll cut the shoulder slope now. I'll go ahead and cut this excess here. I'll go ahead and cut this excess here. I'll cut out my neckline. So right next, I'll notch all my dart points, okay? So when I want to sew, I'll know what to do. Okay, so that's basically it for the back sleeve of this dress. We'll have the zipper. We'll have the zipper, and we also have a Peter Pan collar going all the way from the front to the back. Just cut off an inch after my zipper allowance. I'll show us how to get the perfect Peter Pan collar. Okay guys, so I want to cut the sleeve pattern now, the sleeve for the dress. So I did this because the fabric was not enough, so I just added, and by the time I want to join the sleeve, I'll have to join by half an inch. I'll have to join by half an inch on my machine. So I'll just go ahead and draft out the sleeve pattern now. So the length of her sleeve, what you want is the balloon sleeve, not too big. Whatever you have on the main armhole, that's what you're going to have on the bottom part. So the length of her sleeve is 25. Yes. So for this class, I'll be using 27 in total. I'll use 1 inch for. Okay, this is not up to 27 because we still have some little discrepancies here. I'll just use whatever it is I have there. So I'll explain. Let's just say this is, I'll say 27, yes, I'll use this as 27. The length of the sleeve is 25. I'll need half an inch to join the armhole to the other armhole of the dress. I need 1.5 for the casing of the elastic. So whatever is left will drop on the sleeve. You don't want something that has elastic to go upwards. You need it to flow a bit. You understand? So I'm going to use the total length which I have here, which is at 27. Okay. Then I'll get the depth of her armhole. For she is a big size, I'll be using 5. How did I get 5? How did I get 5? For a shoulder of 16, sorry, a shoulder of 17, 18, 19, you use 5. Or better still, when you divide the armhole on your sleeve, on your bodice, whatever it is you have on your armhole after sewing and everything. Let's say her armhole is 9 on my bodice. By the time I'm done sewing, we should have like 8.5 looking at it on the bodies, you understand? So when you divide that by 2, you have like 4.5 or so. So you should have excess hair on this part so that you can sew it into. In a situation where you have a bit of a tight bicep here that cannot go into the armhole, that means you got it wrong. Later I would show us how to create and how to get the armhole depth very proper. But for a large person, I normally use 5. For a shoulder of 16, 15, I use 4.5. For a shoulder of 13, 12, I use 4. So that's basically what I use. So round bicep here is 17, which is 8.5. So I'll divide my 17 into 2, which is 8.5, plus 2 inches for my sewing allowance. And I will go over to the bottom part of my sleeve. Like I said before, whatever it is we have on the upper part here, I'll bring it down here. So I'm going to bring it down here. Okay, I'll bring it down here, 8.5 plus 2 inches. So I want this to be a bit of A shape, so by the time I gather it with elastic, I'll just go ahead and add 1 inch. Okay, I'll go ahead and add 1 inch. Then I'll connect all lines together. I'll connect all lines together. So I like to come out here a bit. Okay. So what do I do next? The armhole slope. I'll come out from the tip of my fabric here. I'm coming by 0.75 because she is a big size, like I did on the pink fabric I made the other time. So I'm going to merge these lines.
Okay, we'll take another quick break. When we come right off this break, we'll go into that last debate of this round.
So I'll look for the midpoint of this line I just made. This is me looking for the midpoints. So I folded my tape into 2 and I got the midpoints. And I'll look for the midpoint of this space to this space. I'll divide again. That will give me my midpoint. So whatever it is I have on this part is also the midpoint on this part as well. Okay? So on this part I'll come down 0.5. On this part I'll go up 0.5 and I'll make my call. So what I did basically was from this 0.75, I made a call coming out on this 0.5, then I will go in on this midpoint lower, and I will mix that 0.5 I did before, then I'll connect. So that's it for this leaf. I'll go ahead and cut. All these pieces that are left, I'm going to keep them because I'll need a belt for this dress. I'll need a belt for this dress, so I'll keep them all. I'll cut the armhole slope.
Welcome back to this second debate of the day.
So I'll notch the middle. So I'll know this is where we go into my shoulder. Okay, so I'll sew this to my machine. I already have everything intact. Remember, there will be an elastic here, but before then there will be a weaving and a piecing there. So this is it basically for this class. Okay, we have the Peter Pan collar left. That would be by the time I've joined the shoulder of the front and the back together. Then we can take the measurements round and get the collar. Alright guys, if this class has been so helpful to us, please like, share and subscribe to our channel.